So let's see here. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the TikvahMinds show. Welcome. One thing I thought we would do a little bit different today and kind of moving in that direction, we were really trying to figure out ways to get this show out and get this, I don't know, the different topics that we're talking about, from anything in terms of what's happening in comics, what is happening in and around the world. And this show has always been sort of the idea that you're entering the TikvahMinds Elijah Loving studio, and so we wanted to share in that. And what would that mean and look like, and just really get an opportunity for you guys to get some perspective, right? And so it takes, we all sort of, there's 1,000 things we can do better and grow in, and things take time. So with that being said, what I wanted to, so anyway, case, I will be posting this. I'll be doing this live. I'll on YouTube. It'll stream live on YouTube, and the recording will of course go to your sort of the SoundCloud, which it'll also go to Podbean, and then that also goes to the podcast where on what do you call it, on Apple's platform, not iTunes. It's just podcast. So all those things will happen on those platforms. This is just another way to connect with you guys and share this 15 minutes of time that I just kind of go over my thoughts of what's happening, and to really get a chance to hang out with you guys. So this is just an impromptu, and I generally do this about 8:30 in the morning, thereabouts, and I try to get the whole show up by minimum, where everything is finished and wrapped up by the 10 a.m. So that's kind of the deal. Couple things. One is, I should talk about this too. One is that we updated our website a little bit at elijahloving.com. Couple things. One is, I'll go back over the live stream on the 3rd, but one thing is that on the blog page, we really envision this whole thing where it's, instead of going to, we've gotten into this habit of, I have, how should I say? I have a love-hate with Facebook, Instagram, all of them. They have no obligation to tell you when and how and what changes an algorithm. However, I do understand that those are powerful means to ultimately support and get your work out there and have other people look at it. It is certainly a really cool way of doing that, but it is not the bee's knees or the be all end all. It just isn't. Those, and I've shared in the past, those are all funnels that funnel ultimately to your designed universe, which in this case is our website, elijahloving.com, right? And so that's what this is about. It is about that designation to that website. Okay. So with that, we, like, instead of going to Patreon or some sort of thing, or Subscribestar or these other platforms, which are certainly good, we really want to direct you to our actual website. And yes, I understand this is an uphill battle, but it stems from the fact that over this past year, being locked in our homes, so to speak, and all these types of things, that it really goes back to the fact of the importance of, you're essential if you're a part of a big box organization, but you're non-essential if you're not a part of that. Well, I guess that would mean I'm not essential. But what does that actually mean? So understand what I'm trying to say, that we've gotten to this mode of like, well, support the big boxes. You go to your Wally Worlds and all those types of things. And, you support them at all, they have all the stuff there. It's convenient. It's nice, but it's not yeah. And the problem is, and of course, one of the things with like comic conventions, it gives you the opportunity to actually directly support the artists through the artist booths. And of course, the comic conventions, they're going to nickel and dime. And, the creator as a whole gets really pinched. There was even an article on comic bounding into comics, where the creator of Black Panther was saying that artists are not compensated. The writer, the anybody that goes in the process of making that comic, they're not compensated for the amount of, be it the movies or the other things. Your contract is to make the artwork, and we pay you whatever that rate is for that particular page. Maybe it's $100 per page, 200, whatever that is. And that's what you get paid. You get there's no royalties, none of that. So we're in this sort of mode of not directly supporting. Well, my point is that over this past year, I think that's one of the things that we've learned is the importance that the individuals, in this case, the comic book creators, me and many others out there, or other illustrators or artists, it goes back to the fact that we need to directly support each other. So long story short, that's basically what this is all about, where we are made this website of the of ElijahLoving.com. And the blog, in a lot of ways, is in a lot of how I'm treating the blog is a way to, again, find ways of directly connecting anything that goes on any social media, any of it, from the how-tos to the supplies to this podcast to upcoming live streams, illustrations that I post on Instagram, Whatface, all of that stuff goes on this blog. So we reorganized the blog a little bit more. It was hard to read and didn't quite communicate well. I think it does a much better job. But one really, really cool thing about it now is that you can add your comments and just put in your name, put in your email address, and then you can add in a comment to the article or whatever we're saying, or help us support or whatever it might be. Critique the work. Fine. That's cool too. It does go through a thing where we're still figuring out some of the nuances to make it a little bit better, improve it. But which includes, because I have to go back in currently right now and to approve those comments that take place. So we got to work out some details. And also we need to work out a few back end details. Because as one of the things that's difficult is that you want to add new things and help bring people in, which is why any kind of automation is nice. And, the business suite on where you have it, Facebook and Instagram, what do they call it? Business, facebook.business.com, I think. Don't quote me. But basically that's just a way to schedule. And they've recently, and I don't know how long ago, but they've added the ability to schedule stories or all that type of content, which is absolutely phenomenal and makes our job easier so that we can get that scheduled. We're not having to switch brains and all this sort of stuff, because again, I like these platforms, but at the same time, they are a distraction. They keep us from focusing in on, they're the big box stores, and focusing on directly supporting artists, which certainly goes back to why we're doing our own crowdfund on our very own platform. Now, over the weekend, we have through our, and we call it just Patreon, in the support of our campaign, The Last Colony, and which we're currently sitting at 72%. I did also want to talk about, and I'll be talking more about this on the 3rd. I'll have a little bit more time and more details to share with you on the 3rd. So in a nutshell, when you go through any kind of business activity, there's things that you just don't know, or you have a really good piece of organization, but you're missing another just really important, simple piece to it. And we had worked really hard at the fact of making an expense sheet that reflected where we thought we could reach, along with the amount of expenses that we would accrue and what that looked like. As you have things like taxes and shipping, and you have also the expense of the credit card. You have the expense of, it's unbelievable the amount of expenses you have. And you have also built in with that about a 25 to 35% buffer, just in case you buy an entire box of 500 comics, let's say, and 300 of those are absolutely trash because of some knucklehead just tossing them into they fell off the truck, or who knows what reason it is, and they're destroyed. So you can't send destroyed cool comics. That would be terrible. So that's where those buffers come in. That's an extreme example, but that's kind of the idea, right? So we had placed our crowd fund at about 7K with that. But the piece that we didn't necessarily, we knew and understood, but we needed to really get in there and dig in there, which is really an audit of our audience and our audience size and what could our audience actually do. So this is a part of this entire thing that we are doing this in a, how do I say, open book platform to be able to share, hey, it's maybe some of our missteps or mistakes, but we use those as opportunities to learn and grow and show that impossibilities are made possible. The only impossible thing is never taking the chance. That's when it's impossible. And so what we did after that audit is that, okay, we needed to be in this bracket. And so our goal is by the end of this week, so we need your help by the end of this week, that we would be at 3.4K. So $3,400, $425 to be exact, at the end of this week. And so we need your help to be able to get to that number, so that when we get to that number, everybody that participates $30 and up will get an actual comic size poster that we will be designing later on our live stream this Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. But then also on top of that, it'll give us a chance to once we reach that number, where our stretch goal, our very first stretch goal for the end of the 60 days will be that 7K. And so in the end, it all goes back to the same thing, but we're just adjusting a little bit because we want the success, and we want to show that success, not for us necessarily, but for you guys that are backing it and participating in it. It means so much more, again, going back to that direct support of artists. So hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and we will see you later.